is one of my favorite Eric Hernandez stories that I actually use in class.
Hey, I was going to ask you that earlier. What are the Eric Hernandez stories? Because
and it's so simple, but it's funny because when you were in high school, there was still the whole push for like no phones in class. Put your phone away, keep your phone in your locker, and and now it's like kids can have their phones or not. Now kids have laptops. They have a laptop on their desk. The county now gives everyone a Chromebook. Kids are sitting with a Chromebook on their desk. Wow. They have the whole internet right in front of them.
Crazy.
So I either have to be a hard ass and say put it away, or I have to go ahead and find a way to be more interesting than whatever game they just pulled up or whatever, And so that's tricky. But and this is one that like now, whatever, but. Because I was still a relatively new teacher, I don't remember which room it was, but in Heritage, and you were in like somewhere towards the back right corner, and we're talking about something.
100 halls.
Maybe, I don't remember, but
it was close to a stairway.
You were in like the back right corner, yeah, I think so, and it was like near the window and stuff, and we're doing this thing, and I'm saying something, and somebody like calls something. I'm like, no, pay attention. And I'm like, what is this noise? Like, I've got 3/4 of the class doing what they're supposed to, and the other quarter is I don't know what is going on, And you're just like talking in Spanish in the back corner of the room, and I'm like, Eric, what are you doing? And you like all of a sudden you do this. You go sit up and you go, oh, sorry. My grandma called. I gotta answer when grandma calls. And I said, what? And you like laughed. You said, hang on. At which point there was like that momentary like, I'm gonna kill him. Because he's telling me to hang on. And then you went, hang on. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's grandma. I just gotta figure out what's going on. Just give me a second. And I'm like, the appropriate thing would have just been to like not answer or say, excuse me, and just step in the hall. But you answered that phone in the middle of, and like while I wanted to yell at you, all I was like, man, he's got, all right, hey. Grandma? And I was like, yeah, that's what you were like, it's grandma. I was like, he's right. Grandma called. I just remember like right before we hung up, I said, tell her I said hi.
Hey,
that was it.
Wow, I haven't thought about that in a long time.
But that's because it's one of those things that like, that was the first time a kid ever like answered a phone and done something like that in class. It's something that has repeated itself since.
Has it?
And I've probably handled it better because of that.
Hey, that's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, like, there's a plenty, but that's the one that like anytime a kid like randomly is like all of a sudden on their phone in class, they're like, oh, can I take this? And if I'm like,
and this is back in 09 too.
Yeah, and so and that's where it's like, it was a point at which kids were really not supposed to have their phones out. Like now, that's less of a big deal than it was then, at least from like a principal's point of view or whatever. That's probably the one that like I retell though because it comes up and I'm like, one time I had this guy in the middle of class answers the phone, like everybody's laughing. I'm like, yeah, that was one of those times when I learned to be more patient.
Oh wow!
That's why I asked, did Grandma live with you? Because when she called, you were like, there was no.
She did live with me at that time.
You were already on the phone before I had ever noticed. I'm like, what's the noise? What's going on? And you're like, oh, hang on. Like,
hey, give me a second, man. Yeah. I'm on the phone with my grandma. Don't interrupt me.
Yeah. Not like an academic
I think
moment.
She had called me to ask me where I was at.
It was. Yeah.
I'm in class.
And it was relatively quick. Like, it wasn't a big deal, but I just remember, like, that was so funny.
I'm in class. Oh, really? I'm like, yeah, I'm in class. What's up? You good?
I should not be on the phone right now.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny.
That was a good, probably that, and then that was the class where we did the Ali Raps movie, and I think was Rayshawn in your class? He was in your class.
Rayshawn was in the class.
Was Alex in that class? He's the same year as you, right? Chicas.
No, he's not. He's a little older.
Was he older?
He's older. Okay. I think by like a year or two.
Okay, because I would say I thought that was the same year, maybe not, but it was you. There was someone else in that class. And I remember, like, that whole thing was, like, it was just, like, a tricky room. It's, like, lots of personality and lots of fun. Not a ton of focus.
And Rayshawn was crazy duo.
And then it was, like, but it was, like, we did, like, the Ali Raps thing. I remember we did, like, warm-up things, which I haven't done in years. Like, I mentioned to kids, like, we should do that. I'm like, I'm too old, But, like, the warm-up was, like, you had to freestyle battle. Somebody sitting next to you or pick a partner, and you had to do it. And I remember, like, you did one, and I don't remember what it was, but it had to do with boxing, and but there was like only maybe 60-70% of it rhymed, but it did, like, it had a rhythm, it had a flow to it, but I don't remember what it was. But like as you got to the end, there's like a bad word thrown in, but everyone's like laughing and clapping, and I just remember thinking, like, what do I do with that? It didn't really rhyme, and the end was inappropriate. but it felt good, and the class loved it. What do I do with that? You know?
Yeah, that sounds like ninth grade Eric.
And Rayshon, that was a good class.
And there was a lot of personalities in that class.
I remember that we were going to like a friend's wedding, I think, and you were going to nationals in Colorado, maybe.
No, it was Missouri or Mississippi. Missouri,
somewhere
it was
west,
something. Yeah, it was something.
But I remember I was like in line, like, I'm so excited. We're going to, it was like the Dominican Republic for this friend's wedding. This is going to be great. And then it was like, oh, hey.
Hey, I
and
remember, hey, Mr. Tibbs, what's up, Vato? You know, that's how I used to say Vato all the time.
Oh, my God, that's right. That was like constant.
Yeah, like I would call you Vato. I wouldn't even call you Mr. Tibbs. Hey, yo, Vato. And be like, you just look over.
Yeah. But yeah, then like, crossing the line as we're like finally getting on plane, like separating through the security check. I was as excited for you to go box as I was to go chill on the beach. I was like, all right, yeah.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, I think it was Missouri, Mississippi, one of those two. I don't remember. A long time ago. That's crazy, man.
Wow. You're old. You're so old.
I'm a big homie now, considered this something.
Yeah, right.
Big bro now. I'm like, oh, wow. If I'm old, man, it's crazy how time passes, man, for real. But like I said, man, for real, I think, like, it was crazy, like, through high school, you and Miss Cups made a huge impact in my life. Like, for real. Like, I mean, in ninth grade with you, just made learning fun, and understanding there was still rules, yet we could still get along. And we talked about Jay-Z all the time. Yeah, I remember always talking about Jay-Z. Hey, and you also told me that when you turned pro, I think I was like 14-0 at the time as an amateur. And you said and I would always talk about, going pro and this, that. And you said, when you go pro, I will be there for your first pro fight. I will never forget that. You told me that. You said, hey, I will be there for your first pro fight. Huh? And, ninth grade, okay, cool. And then 10th, 11th, you go on through life. And then my first pro fight, who's there? You, Miss Cubs, Mrs. Good. I said, wow. I said, that's something I still talk about to this day. When we talk about this, and we talk about you, when I talk, like, my girlfriend, hey.
Well,
like, it's crazy, man.
It's exciting, though.
For sure.
This is a place where, like, say, like, teaching in certain ways, maybe, like, I think our jobs are similar, But, like, one that's different is there's a tendency to just, like, you teach kids and they graduate, whatever, and it's like, if you want to do it well, you got to get to know people. And the reality is, say you got 130 kids. You can't get to know all 130 kids well, but you try to get to know everybody a little bit. And then the people that, it's like the squeaky, what is it, the squeaky wheel gets the grease or whatever, like, but like the students who come around or hang around or whatever, like, you do that. You sort of make time for people and make sure you can have these sort of conversation stuff. But that's, like, you were great. Like I say, like, you're not supposed to have favorite students. You're one of my favorite students.
Oh my God.
But, you also were not the greatest student. You weren't a bad student, but you weren't as good a student as you could have been.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also think that it'd be very easy for a teacher to hold that against somebody. Yeah. And that's where I say, like earlier, I said, your job isn't to make somebody else into you, it's to help them be a better them.
Yeah,
so whether it worked or not, like, I appreciate that, there was that influence. I know Ms. Cups was super important and all that, but, like, it's good, because that's the whole thing is, like, you find ways to, like, hopefully help some of those 130 kids to be better. Like, you'd be crazy to think you're always going to get all of them all the time. But, you want to get most of them most of the time. It's probably the way to go.
Oh, wow. Nah, hey, man, I tell you, you're a patient, man.